So as you can see, when you go onto Wikipedia, you usually see this image that shows you the item that's being discussed. So we want to pull down this image of the Barberton daisy and show it in our app instead of the image that the user took. So this is actually relatively easy to do. And the tool that we're going to use is a pod called SDWebImage. So you can have a read here on cocopods.org about what are the features and how you can use it, but I'm just going to show you how to implement it in our project. So let's head back into our list of pods and let's just add that at the bottom here. So it's called SDWebImage. All right, and hit save. And now I'm going to close down Xcode, go into my terminal and cd to desktop / I think it was called Whatflower. And here I'm going to say pod install. And you can see that it's added the SDWebImage. So now if we open our Whatflower, then we should be able to import SDWebImage. And as usual with Xcode, sometimes it's a little bit weird when you've just added in a new pod. So go ahead and Command B to build, and that should work without a problem. So now what we want to do is we want to add to our parameters for making our GET request. And there's 2 extra parameters that we need. We need to add another item to the properties key. And also I want to specify the size of the image that I want to download. So let's add that first one. So to do that, we need to add an additional item to our list of properties that we want. So in addition to extracts, we also want something called page images. Now it's all lowercase and you have to separate it from the extract using a pipe symbol on your keyboard. Now, in addition to asking for the URL of the page image, we also want to specify the size of the image that we want. And you can do that through page image or PI thumb size. And I'm going to specify 500 for 500 pixels by 500 pixels, which should work just fine for our app purposes. So let's give it a go. All right, so as you can see, we've now got this thing called page image, and it's got a name, barbertondaisy.jpg, and most importantly is this source here. You can see that this is a URL that is going to lead to our image. There we go. That's exactly what we want to display on screen. So now let's use that SDWebImage that we incorporated earlier on in order to download that image and display it in our image view. So let's go ahead and delete this line where we're setting the image view to the user picked image. And instead, let's go and pass that JSON that we get back and store that source somewhere. So let's store that URL inside a constant and let's call it flower image URL. And we're going to set it to equal flower JSON. And again, we need to go inside query. The next level down from query is pages. And then we're again using that page ID that we got from earlier on to go into here. And now you can see you've got extract, you've got page image, then you've got this thing called thumbnail. So let's go into thumbnail. And finally, last level, we need to go inside thumbnail to source. So that's the last one we need to add. And let's change it to a string value again. All right, so now we have this flower image URL, and all that we need to do to update our image view by using SDWebImage is just to specify self.imageview.stSetImage with URL. So this requires data of type URL, but at the moment we've got type of string. So all we need to convert it is just to write URL, and then we're going to use a string to put in as our URL. And the string is, of course, flower image URL. And that's it. That's all you need to do. So let's go ahead and give it a spin, shall we? And there we go. We've got our Barberton daisy being shown up on screen and also our description being shown up on our app. Isn't that really cool? So in the next lesson, we're going to be giving our app a little bit of a makeover, And also, I'm going to create an app icon for it using Photoshop and Illustrator. So you can follow along, or you can just go ahead and modify and design your app however you want it to be. So if you want to join me on designing some assets for our app, then have a look at the next lesson. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next module.